All right, let's dive into the matchups, and we are going to be breaking down. Guys, we're at week 16. Like, this season is closing down so quickly on us, and we only have a little bit of time before playoffs. And as a Broncos fan, it's kind of fun to be able to say that. So hey, I'm gonna take it all in. I'm gonna live in the moment. I'm gonna be Michelob guy, because this hasn't been a normal thing for us here. But we're going to be breaking down all the top matchups for Week 16 and some of the matchups that we have in association with some best bets that we're going to be throwing at you. So make sure you guys hang out with us, and you can always check out all of our content on YouTube as we get through this show. We'll upload that to YouTube so you can check it out and look at our best bets, look at our analysis, anything else you want to think about going into this weekend's games. Also, make sure you hit that follow button if you're new to the channel. We're live every Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday live in the ActionLab Sports channel on Twitch. So make sure you guys are hitting the follow button and hitting the subscribe button if you're checking us out on YouTube. Little plug there for all you YouTube watchers. All right, let's dive into Broncos and Chargers in this game. Now, Broncos with a big win last week against the Indianapolis Colts. May not have been pretty offensively, but they found a way to win the game, and they find themselves in a pretty much a lock to make the playoffs. There are some percentages that some crazy shit could happen, but Broncos should be in the playoffs.
Both these teams are in with one more win.
Exactly.
Both these teams need one more W to assure themselves of the postseason.
Correct. So Broncos visiting LA. The spread was 3 early on the week, just dropped to 2.5. And that's where it sits right now. The over-under set at 42.5. And the money line for Denver plus 128. Money line for the Chargers minus 152 in this one. Scotty, we are both well vested into this game. I'll let you go ahead. Go ahead. Why do you love one side?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers in this one. I think the general public's probably on the Broncos. Broncos winners of 4 straight. They look good, or they, on the surface look good at least. But when you actually dive into things, the Broncos have been winning games in situations where they haven't necessarily played well. Probably since 4 weeks ago against the Falcons. Their last 3 wins, Raiders, Browns, Colts, they got outgained in every single one of those games, including against the Raiders. So, one of the worst teams in football. Raiders outgained them in that one. Now, the Broncos have won those games. And then you have a Chargers team coming off kind of an embarrassing loss last week against the Bucs, where they didn't show up. Short week. Holiday time of year, second time the Broncos, and they had to sign off on this, and I don't know why they did. This game was not originally the Thursday night game. The Broncos had to sign off on going on the road for a second time this season on a short week on a Thursday to play. I know, listen, we know the Chargers home field is not great.
It'll be a Broncos home game.
I mean, it'll probably be close to 50-50. Yes. There'll be a lot of Broncos fans there. There's no doubt. Just like every Chargers game, there's a ton of, the visiting team Chiefs that represents there, because there's just not a lot of Chargers fans, to be honest, especially in LA. Since they've moved from San Diego, they just haven't found their traction. If you're in LA, you probably became a Rams fan because they won a Super Bowl, recently after moving there to LA. So, yeah, the home field isn't much, but short week, this Chargers team is well coached. They're going to know how to play this game. I think the Broncos have been a little smoke and mirrors, little lucky with these recent games winning, in the sense that they have not played great football, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They're struggling a little bit on the offensive side of the ball. And I think this one will be close. I do. Ish. But I think the public's going to ride the Broncos because of their hot streak, not realizing that, the Chargers, they already faced in Denver, by the way, speaking of home field advantages, the Chargers already beat Denver in Denver early on this year. Now you could say Denver's a better team now, and that's fine. But I don't know. I just have a weird feeling that the Chargers come out, play well, don't turn the ball over. If you don't turn the ball over against Denver and force that offense to move the ball down the field completely, make this a, low possession game on both sides of the ball, control the ball. I just have a feeling the Chargers actually come out and play well and win this game. So I have the Chargers -2.5, and I like it quite a bit.
Yeah, I ended up getting early on in the week Broncos +3. I love the +3. I mean, I would still lean 2.5. I like the 3 better, obviously. Just getting that extra half point. But I mean, in this game, I just think that the Broncos will have that stadium will be pretty orange generally in this one. Broncos won 4 of their last 6 on the road, losing at Baltimore, and they barely get that blocked field goal at Arrowhead. So those are the 2 losses that they've had on the road. Chargers injuries have kind of been a thing. That's where I'm kind of like, all right, like how much are they going to be, battling? Especially Justin Herbert. He's battled some things over the last couple weeks, getting banged up. Their interior offensive line hasn't exactly been super strong. So that's a way that this Broncos defense, I think, is going to be, very, very versatile in trying to get pressure on Justin Herbert, knock him around a little bit, make him feel uncomfortable. I just think the Chargers rely a lot on their run game. So the main threat, Ladd McConkey, I think is going to be one of the things that the Broncos will focus on stopping in the passing game with
if he's healthy.
PS2. PS2 is going to be probably kind of doing a lot of covering of Ladd McConkey, and you take him away, and I don't
as well.
If he plays,
he will. He was practicing this week, and he was looking good. Even he wasn't even on.
He was looking good. Did you watch practice?
I did. I went and actually saw him in practice. I got a pulse on everything here, Scotty. Yeah. So, I just think that this game, it's going to lend itself to a close, maybe low scoring game, because I do have the under as a best bet in this one as well. So that tells me everything I want, especially getting those extra 3 points in a potentially low scoring game that might be tight at the end. I'll take it. The last 10 times they've met, they've gone under 9 times in LA/San Diego, going back to San Diego. Overall, 8 of their last 9 total meetings are under 41 points. Chargers AFC West games have totaled 36, 39, 27, 32, and they've all gone super low on the total. So this is a spot where I just feel like,
do code yellow real quick.
I was able to get, code yellow in the chat. 43 was what I got it at. It's sitting at 42.5. I still like it under 42.5 if that's where you could get it at your local books. But Justin Herbert is under in 9 of his 13 games at home within the division. Under in 4 straight of those occasions and 6 of the last 7. They've totaled 39 points in their first meeting and 37 when they met in LA last year. Everything leans towards this being a low scoring, especially on a Thursday night on a short week. I just know that this is probably going to be a tight game, which is why I love the Broncos +3 and the under, even if you get it at 42.5. As much as I don't want to say this, I am pulling for the Broncos. Final score 17-14. That's probably what we could potentially see in this one. Incarnate, good to have you in, by the way. I don't think I've ever stayed corrected. He once said their uniforms were new. I took that as nice as it gets. Yeah, that's it's not too many instances where we get Scotty really throwing love towards the Broncos, but I'll be happy once the Broncos. Here's the thing: Broncos are in a spot where they just want to win and just know that they're good to go. They're locked in. This is a big win, hopefully against the Chargers, that they can knock off their to-do list and just get into the postseason, and then try to figure out now at that point more of a seeding, right? Then in the chat, then again, it might be the meds and anesthesia from surgery. You might be right.
Always a possibility.
That's true too. That's true too. So I'm high on the Broncos this week. I mean, it's crazy to think that the Broncos are playing meaningful games in December. Like meaningful games that they have a chance to really do something and get into the playoffs. Everything. I mean, this is a win. This season is a win for the Broncos. Everything else, icing on the cake. Icing on the cake. So Broncos. By the way, let me just double check and make sure the over/under total is still 42.5. So there you go. Thursday night, tomorrow night. Maybe we'll do a little watch party for a little bit tomorrow for the Broncos game. We'll do maybe first half or something. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll try to jump on earlier and do the first half, or maybe I'll try to jump on and we'll finish out through the third quarter or something. We'll do that maybe. So, guys, tomorrow's night stream, we may end up doing football only because the Broncos are going to be playing. All right, there you go. Broncos at Chargers. All right, next up, we got the Texans and the Chiefs in the next game that we're covering here. Now, this game is, if you haven't been paying attention to the betting lines and haven't been paying attention since the past weekend, this has been a roller coaster, to say the least. After we got off our show on Sunday night, Scotty, Rec, myself, Doc tend to talk about the lines and, you know, what look ahead. And maybe we should do that on stream more. Maybe we should do that on stream with you guys, knowing that that's something. It's just after Sunday Night Football, after we get through our recaps, it's just a lot to get to, and it's late. But we always end up talking through that. If that's something you're interested in, let us know in the chat. But we always look at some of the lines that really stand out to us and try to make some bets to get out ahead of some of these lines. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs opened up as 2.5-point underdogs. I'll say that again. The Kansas City Chiefs came out in this matchup as 2.5-point underdogs at home, which basically tells you that Mahomes wasn't slated to play, especially after the high ankle sprain with whatever. I mean, now we're getting into that late season, so now we're getting into the Mahomes phantom injuries that may or may not be real. That's kind of what happens, and
that motherfucker back there is not real.
It's not real. No, he's not. Neither is that injury. It's kind of, we did this last year, this whole song and dance, or was it last year or the year before, where he had that injury and everyone was like, oh, take advantage of it, when really he's like playing his mind out of his mind. Just this last day and a half, that lines went from the Chiefs -2.5 or +2.5 to -3.5. 3.5-point favorites. A 5-point swing. A 5-point swing. Because Patrick Mahomes practiced as a full participant this past week, and the injury wasn't as bad as they say. So that just tells you how crazy it was. Now, I placed the bet on the Chiefs. I even teased them up. I got Chiefs +8.5. That doesn't exist anymore. Scotty has the best bet in this game. He took advantage of that. He'll get to that in a second. But this is now currently Kansas City Chiefs -3.5 as favorites. Over under set at 41.5. Money line is Kansas City -176. Houston +148. Houston's still dealing with some issues, obviously. Chiefs might just lose this one. 3 games, 11 days, injuries, and Mahomes ankled up. Texans 28-17. I like the predictions. Keep your predictions coming, Carnett. I mean, it's just a weird. I mean, I like the Chiefs even getting the even with Carson Wentz being a potential starter in this game. I was like, we talked a little bit about it. We were like, man, I still Carson Wentz feels like even under Andy Reid being able to call a good game, being able to get things like, lined up for this. I feel like even Carson Wentz has a chance to beat a Texas team that's really struggled recently. Now, we've been waiting for this, right? We've been waiting for the Chiefs to finally get off that not covering, that streak, right? I thought it was going to be the week before. It wasn't. They obviously against the Chargers. And last week they finally got off and got a big win. But now we're looking at the Houston Texans, who have been struggling, but are still trying to figure out a way to, maintain. And Scotty, I've already talked about a lot of the roller coaster of the line, why it moved, what it was on Sunday night when we were talking after our stream, and what it is today and why it moved. But you got it at a great time. I got it at a great time. I got it at plus 8.5 on a teaser. You have a best bet in this one.
Mine, I got it. I think it was just at 2. So I got the Chiefs plus 2. So I feel great about it. I bet that, think like with the knowledge of if Wentz plays, like I actually think we would have still won this game. Not that we're guaranteed to win, but I thought we'd have a good chance to win even with Carson Wentz, our backup, playing here. It sounds like Mahomes is going to play. It's not a foregone conclusion.
2 full practices this week.
He was listed as a full participant.
I watched their practices too, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So I mean, part of me, like, and it's hard because like there's a lot of Chiefs contingency that's like rest Mahomes. Having the 1 seed is less important than not having him healthy for the playoffs. And in that sense, I'm like, I get it. But also, if they can win this Saturday and get a W on Wednesday on Christmas against the Steelers, they've locked up that 1 seed, and then there's a abundant time for them to rest before they have to play another game, and Mahomes can get healthy in that sense. So it's like, what's the better option? And I don't think they're stupid. I don't think they're going to throw out Mahomes if he's... And I don't think this one is as serious as what he got 2 years ago in the playoffs against the Jaguars. That high ankle sprain, I think, was way worse than this one. But it's never great to have a high ankle sprain. So we'll see. I think a lift will be... It sounds like Hollywood Brown will be making his debut for the Chiefs, and everyone can scoff at that and be like, Hollywood Brown, who is that? Like, why does that matter? He will be the number 1 option for the Kansas City Chiefs at the wideout spot in the postseason. If he's, based off of the reports I heard in training camp and how good he looked and what he was looking like, I mean, it sucks to not have Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice was the 2nd leading wide receiver after 2 weeks in the league this year among all wide receivers in yards. So it sucks not to have Rashee Rice. But getting Hollywood Brown, the offensive line is still a little woof. No doubt about it. I think Worthy's making some progress. I think this offense is going to be fine playoff time. Quietly, the Texans defense is actually really, really good. I don't think, while we've talked a lot on the stream about the Texans offense and the struggles they've had based off of where we thought they'd be with CJ Stroud and his great rookie year, and he's kind of had this sophomore slump, that defense is balling out. They're top 5 in yards against. They're top 5, I think, in points against. They're top 5 in takeaways. Like, that defense is playing really, really good football right now. So it won't be easy for the Chiefs. There was a D lineman, D tackle for the Texans. Not that he talked trash. He was just more like saying, like, Mahomes better be healthy because if he's not, we're coming for him. I'm not saying that's like a dumb thing to say because it's not like he said anything wrong. That's what they should have the mentality of doing. Just don't say it out loud. Just don't say it out loud.
Just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, because like generally when people do things like that, Mahomes takes it to another level. There's a lot of doubt with this team. The money line is you. It changed it to you instead of Houston. I see on my graphic here, so that's cool. Love when they
You
correct
plus
my
130.
yeah.
There's-
So you guys, each of you, are plus 130 in this game to beat the Chiefs.
Hell
So
yeah.
congratulations! I mean, that's pretty good odds.
I can beat the Chiefs on my own.
Yeah, but this is an important. I actually think this game is more important. It means more to the Chiefs than the Texans. The Texans are pretty much locked into the 3 or 4 seed. They're gonna win the AFC South, but they don't. I don't think they can't get the 1 or 2 seed. So they're looking at the 3 or 4 at this juncture. So how much does that matter in the grand scheme of things? You get the same amount of home games. You get 1 home game if you're the 3. You get 1 home game if you're the 4. So I don't know that this means as much for Houston as it does for KC and getting that 1 seed and getting that bye and locking that up. So I think it matters more to the Chiefs. I don't know. It may not be a pretty game. This could be a very low scoring game. The under at 40. I mean, that's an insane number. If you would have told me preseason on this total would have been probably 10 points higher than this. At 41.5, that's a very small number for a Chiefs game. And as I talked about, though, the Texans defense has been balling out. This could be an ugly football game. It very well could be.
Well,
But ugly games, guess who generally wins in ugly games? The Chiefs. And by generally, I mean always.
well,
Always.
and now, I mean, you almost question if you're looking at this line at face value right now. I mean, Houston plus 3.5 in a low scoring kind of maybe tight game. I mean,
I could theoretically double down and win both.
you could.
I could get KC at plus 2 and
Houston
then
at
take
plus
Houston
3.5.
at plus 3.5, and try and middle it and win both bets.
'Cause-
honestly, I'll consider that.
Because I can see Houston maybe getting out. They have Nico Collins, and we know that CJ Stroud plays better when he has his safety blanket, Nico Collins, out there, and he's been able to find him and be successful moving the football. I could see Houston being up by 2-3 points in this game at some level, and Kansas City coming back and winning by 3 or winning with a field goal, and all of a sudden Houston is the side with 3.5, which Kansas City again, they've only had one game where they've really last week where they finally broke out of that and blew out a team.
Didn't look great in that one, although the defense looked great. And the defense is Charles Omenihu tore his ACL in the AFC Championship game last year. Now has 2 starts under his belt. He's actually looked really good in those 2 games. He's their second best defensive lineman when healthy. So having him in the picture and moving forward, not for this game, but their number 2 cornerback, Watson, who a lot of people thought would be out for a year. He is not practicing with the team, but he's in cleats. He's doing drills, which bodes well at this juncture for him at least being able to return, because it's kind of been a dumpster fire after we lost him at times with picking on our other outside corner without him. So if he can come back later on in the postseason, that'd be massive. He's not going to be in this game, so that's irrelevant. But yeah, I want to say I'm looking forward to this one, but most Chiefs games right now in the regular season, it's not like I'm anxiety ridden because it doesn't fully matter, but I'm also just like, are we gonna wake up? Are we gonna do something? And Mahomes, I love Mahomes. I give him credit for all this stuff. He's been really bad, especially recently with the deep ball. He doesn't even give his wide receivers a chance to catch the ball. Not a chance in the world. He's overthrowing them constantly. So he's got to figure that out. I think he can. He's done it through his career. So we'll see. But yeah, this will be a fun Saturday matchup. Both Saturday games should be, they're meaningful playoff teams. So should be fun to watch.
Yeah, there you go. Texans, Chiefs. We'll see. Let's get to the next one. Rams and Jets. Rams and Jets going at it here in this one in New York. So the Rams flying across the country for a early game, and current spread right now 32.5.
32 for Carolina.
For Carolina.
My God.
Yeah, guys, just to be clear, I'm running through these and then my spell check just ruins everything. I type LAR and it just automatically changes to CAR and I don't notice.
So what explains the 32?
But the 32, the 32, just take out that 2.
Can I
take out that 2?
I'll take plus 32.5 all day, every day. I feel really best bet. I'll take plus 32.5.
Joke was I'm typing the L, but my auto spell it's correcting on me.
You have autocorrect on your computer?
I use Canva, and apparently they use that because I would if there's an option to turn that off, I'd do it. Maybe there is an option. Maybe there is.
So how do you have that, but then you have all these graphics with doll hands on it?
Listen, I'm not saying there's never been typos, Rec. Okay, and there's still a typo in this one, but the CAR, I promise you, I didn't do CAR twice. Okay,
something's
and to
not.
Joko's point, yeah, the L and C are nowhere near each other on the keyboard. That's not a typo. That's just autocorrect.
Sure, blame it all on technology.
And I don't even want to preview it. There's a couple games, Chris. There were 5. Usually I pick the top 8 games, and that's what we preview. There's only 5 good games this weekend.
It's not.
But
it's not
I added a few more. I think just 2. I think we're only previewing 7, where it does have playoff impact. Obviously, this is a big game for the Rams. Jets.
For Carolina?
No. Shut up, Rap. This is a big one for the Rams. Now in the driver's seat in the NFC West. They currently hold the tiebreaker against the Seahawks, and they are leading that division. So they need everyone they can get. The Jets are embarrassing and bad, and you also have Aaron Rodgers is always a mess, right? But this week he's been battling Ryan Clark.
Yeah,
going back and forth,
media stuff,
different stuff, and then he has some sort of documentary that came out. I have not watched it. I don't think I will watch. Maybe I'll watch it.
On what platform?
I don't know actually, but I've heard already it's pretty cringe. Let me see if I can.
Documentary.
What's worse? What's worse, that or his feud with Ryan Clark? I don't know if you've seen that.
Both are bad. That I just said that. I said he's fighting the media right now. It's on Netflix. It's not so there's a lot of stuff going on with that where I think he's pretty much checked out of the season at this point. And this obviously means a lot more for the Rams, and that's why I took the Rams plus 32.5 in this one.
Plus 32.5.
Yeah, it was a bold strategy, but I took them plus 32.5. Took them up. Stay away from betting this game. Well, I'm betting it. I'm taking the Rams. I think I have the Rams, right?
You have the Rams, correct?
Okay.
I mean, you'd be stupid to not bet 32.5.
Yeah, I mean it was a layup in that sense. I don't love this one.
Minus
in general bet. But
minus 15,000.
We're only previewing this game because it's meaningful to the Rams, and there aren't a lot of meaningful games this year or left. I mean,
year.
I've never seen the playoff outlook be so clear with 3 weeks remaining as it does right now. The AFC is all but over. I mean, you have 7 teams with over 90% odds to make the playoffs, so it feels like the 7 seeding can change, but the 7 teams that are going to make it feel pretty likely in the AFC. And the NFC is a little more of a toss-up, especially the NFC West division. And then the NFC South has some stakes on it too, and that's why we're going to preview that one for 2 reasons. One, the Falcons game. We're going to talk about the Falcons game because it's interesting for 2 reasons. It's an important game for them to make the playoffs, and also they are changing quarterbacks. But this one, I don't even know what to say about this one. Rams, get it done. Just fucking get it done.
Yeah, Rams, I mean, they're one of the hottest teams offensively and just being able to.
Well, they scored 0 touchdowns last week.
Well, but they've been back on track generally over the course of getting everyone healthy, and like again, they have the upside of their offense that can just really go crazy on any teams. You know what's weird? I don't know why, and maybe it's just the fact that they're flying out East Coast early game. I just, for some reason, I don't know why, I just like have a bad feeling, and maybe we have people in the chat that are like, stay away from this game, and so I'm just like, I'm kind of hesitant for the Rams, but I like your side. Little skeptical. By the way, in the chat, Mr. John plays games. What's up, John? Welcome.
He's watching while loading animal crates in our aircraft. What animals are you shipping? What are we shipping? Rhinoceroses?
I'm wearing my
shipping drone birds.
Hippopotamuses?
I'm wearing my one and only Eagles outfit.
You're not shipping eagles. That's probably, I don't even know.
Welcome in, John. Good to have you. Welcome. Good to get a little taste of what's going on in your life. I want to know about your aunt. So many questions. Joe Quills wants a hippopotamus for Christmas, so there's that.
Only a hippopotamus will do.
A lot
dogs. And cats. Dogs and cats. We're part of Wings of Hope. Okay.
Oh, nice. Love it. I love it. Well, welcome in, John. Hope you're enjoying the content. Guys, if you guys are like John, just joining us for the first time, let us know who your teams are and where you're from. We'd like to get to know you a little bit better. Hit that follow button if you're new to the channel. We're live every Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Everyone.
Just a fun question for you. What animal is more difficult to ship? A dog or a cat? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Dogs generally range in.
I'm not asking you, Chris.
I would say dogs probably, right? Dogs size. There's sizes. There's size issues with dogs. Like cats are all the same size.
Cats are sons of bitches.
So cats. I'm not a cat person.
Get a cat that's not happy, and it's
dog because they are wild in sizes.
Okay. All right, Chris. Apparently, you should get in the.
I should. Hey.
Animal industry. There's your next gig.
I nailed it. I nailed it.
Mr. John, are you guys hiring?
I mean, I could use a gig right now. I'm ready to get back in the mix.
He will even travel in the crate with the animal if he has to.
I'll do what I have to do. No, this game is split down the middle with everybody that I trust, in like different opinions and different areas. I mean, I see some of my favorite people on the Rams. I see some of my other favorite people on the Jets, and it's all split right down the middle. I mean, Sean McVay, 24-10-1 against the spread in December, 12-6 on the road, covering 14 of 16 in December. But again, still that early side of things, traveling across the country is something I'm like kind of worried about. Rams ranking 21st in net yards per play. Jets are 7th. Rams have have a net yards per play of minus 0.53 on road games. Jets are plus 0.76 at home. I mean, you could get into the weeds with all of these different like crazy nerd stats, but they're all split down the middle. And so I don't know where to go. The money publicly, 64% public on the Rams. 57% of the money is on the Rams. So a little more even on the money side of things. But yeah, this
and again, I got it early, so I got Rams plus 32.5.
You got
You got the good number.
I feel like that's a good number.
Yeah. Mr. John, if he's on the East Coast, he can contact Brandywine SPCA CEO in Chestertown, Pennsylvania. What if he's in Denver? That's a big airport. There's got to be animals moving through Denver.
Yeah.
It's a big airport. That's the stopping point on your way to the west or the east, wherever you're from. We're the stopping point.
Sounds like he's from the east.
Well, I think Mr. John's from the east. Yes.
Yeah. See,
he might be. It feels like he might be in Pennsylvania. He's an Eagles fan.
Yes.
See, Broncos is right. See, I got that dog in me. You know what I'm saying? I got that dog in me.
Got that dog.
I already have Cuban's
That's
crate.
why I said you'd ride in a crate.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you got that dog in you.
I already have Cuban's crate for bad bets, he suggests. And they always seem like sure bets. I kind of like the crate. Hashtag ActionLab after dark. I'm telling you. I like how you avoided the word good at Cuban. Yeah, see? Cuban knows what he's doing. Yeah, definitely an interesting game though. When it comes to the Rams, I'm more curious about the Rams. Like I said, by the way, I just discovered right now, ESPN currently has the projections. They ran 10,000 simulations using Football Power Index, which I don't know.
Boy.
I don't know how I don't believe anything when it comes to ESPN's Power Index shit.
Football bullshit index.
Yeah, it's I never believe anything when it comes to that because it's just so obscure.
But tell us the stat.
It shows the simulations here. Hold on, let me pull it up. Actually, I'll just pull it up and we could go through it on screen together. And it breaks down the next 3 weeks and what will happen. And let's see.
More like what won't happen.
Here we go. Let's turn this on and we'll close this. We'll pull it. All right. So here's what we have. So we have, again, simulations, week 16, all the projected scores. I mean, we don't need to go into the details of all these. Let's just
Steelers 30, Ravens 24. What the fuck is that?
Never mind. ESPN's doing a good job.
Yeah.
How are the Giants putting up 30? This is just,
so
they
bad.
literally just made it up.
Yeah. So then week 17, then we got some other ones here. We got
Hell yeah.
Broncos winning. You got the
Steelers might be the best team in football, apparently. They're just rolling over
everybody.
The Ravens and Chiefs in back-to-back weeks.
Let's see if they close it out here. Let's see.
Against the Bengals. No, we don't.
And then you lose to the Bengals, naturally.
So then, all right. So then let's get to this. Projecting the AFC, here is the seeding. Kansas City 1, Buffalo 2, Pittsburgh 3, Houston 4, Baltimore 5, Chargers 6, Broncos 7.
You're playing the Bills. Have fun.
Then we get to the NFC. Lions 1, Eagles 2, Tampa Bay 3, Rams 4, Rams getting in. Vikings, Packers, and Commanders. Okay. So there you go.
I mean, all of those are odds-on favorites to do what they do there.
So here are the matchups that they have set as far as what this could potentially look like. Broncos and Bills. Makes sense.
I like my under a half. You said against any team, right?
No, it was Bills.
Except Bills, except Ravens.
Shut up, Brad.
Chargers, Steelers, Ravens, Texans, Commanders, Eagles, Packers, Bucks. Hey! Welcome
Morning,
in.
Wood. Thank you so much.
We got the best. We got the best names.
It's not often Morning Wood stays up this late, so it must be meaningful.
What's up, Morning Wood? Manny, tell us who's your team and where you're from. We'd like to get to know you a little bit. Welcome in. So that's kind of do these matchups, are these what you expected as far as what you're thinking might happen?
No, I don't think the Steelers end up with 3. I think the Ravens end up with 3, which then takes the Steelers likely to the 5. The Broncos, this game tomorrow night is whether they get, they won't be the 7 likely if they win tomorrow, but if they lose, then they will be the 7, maybe the 7. Commanders aren't playing good football right now, so I'd be worried if I'm the Commanders a little bit. But everyone else there, I mean, if everyone wins out right now, I mean, Detroit has the 1 with the tiebreaker. Eagles would still be the 2. There's a scenario where like I mean, there's a very real scenario where the Vikings get the number 1 overall seed, which would just blow my mind in the NFC. Like, I still can't believe the Vikings have only lost 2 games. Good for them. Good for them. I mean, what a remarkable season. Like, I don't even think they were going to start Sam Darnold at cornerback. Their rookie gets hurt.
They
They've had a
probably
great
would've.
year. Props to him. Props to that team. I don't know if they're a real threat for the Super Bowl, but either way, like, remarkable season for the Vikings, and it would be hilarious if they ended up with the 1 seed. So that's actually what I'm rooting for. Let's have the Vikings get the 1.
Hey, oh, Manny.
Hilarious.
Manny, I'm just getting into sports, so I'm here to listen and better my knowledge. I love that. Hey,
You come to the right place.
you came to the right place. I'm glad you're here. It's great to have you here. And, honestly, we have fans from being brand new to different sports to, people who everybody's all welcome here and everyone is well represented. So
the voice you hear that's not on screen, he's brand new to sports too.
Yeah.
So we're all
you're right at home. So it's good to have you. And I appreciate you being here and hanging out with us. Side note, great Panthers bet for me for Medusa. Yeah. By the way,
of course, 2.5. 2.5 is a great bet.
Oh, by the way, projected Super Bowl matchup here. Buffalo versus
Lions.
Detroit.
Not happening. The Lions are way too injured.
Both those teams won't make the Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys heard the curse of Jim Kelly, but it's a real thing.
Well, you
guys not know that curse?
Oh, I know the curse. I mean, Jim Kelly. Yeah, it's been like spans, like years and years that Bills have been suffering because of that.
No, it doesn't just correlate to the Bills. It correlates to all teams. The Bills and Lions, by default, are unable to make the Super Bowl this year, unfortunately, based off the curse. It's not me. It's just the curse. Chris, since Jim Kelly in the early 90s, who made it to 4 Super Bowls and lost all 4, right? Since then, any quarterback that has made it to a Super Bowl and lost in his debut in the Super Bowl has never made it back. Never made it even back to the Super Bowl. And guess who? Well, actually, the Bills are open. I didn't mean the Bills. Who is it?
Bills,
the Lions.
Bills and Lions.
No, the Bills are fine. It's the Lions and the Eagles. The number 1 and number 2 seeds right now in the NFC are eliminated. The Bills are alive. That's my fault. I just correlated because it was Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
The only 2 quarterbacks in this postseason it likely applies to is Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts, who both have made it to the Super Bowl and lost in their one and only time. So they'll never be back, Chris. It's not me doing this. It's the curse.
Along with the Madden curse, I mean, they're real. They're real.
But that is pretty crazy.
Back there is real.
It is
not
real.
A single quarterback in the last like 30 plus years has made it back to a Super Bowl after losing their debut in the Super Bowl.
Wild. That's a great. Hey, take that, and think about that. That's crazy.
John Elway won after Jim Kelly at his 4. Well, then someone lied to me. I literally watched this thing today, but now that I'm thinking about it, John Elway was after that.
Get your facts straight.
Shit. Someone screwed me over.
We're
Damn you, Cuban.
You
and your
fact checking. Let's go. He knows his shit, Oh,
all right, fine. Over the last 20 years. Thank you, Joe Close. Over the last 20 years.
There it is.
So it got the Jim Kelly curse.
Well, that's what the guy called it, but
all right. Well, here
such a good video on it too. It was captivating.
Oh,
liar.
We need to let's go track this.
About John Elway.
Track him down. All right, let's get to the next game though. We got Vikings visiting the Seahawks in this one, and Vikings.
And now I got it. You know what it is? You had to have made your debut post Jim Kelly. John Elway's debut in the Super Bowl was prior to Jim Kelly's initial debut in the Super Bowl. There's where it's at.
There we go.
Post Jim Kelly debut, not a quarterback. I don't
Nailed
make
it.
the rules. I don't make the rules, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're an Eagles fan or a Lions fan. It's going to be heartbreak again. And apparently my Packers are just coasting to the Super Bowl.
Coasting. Vikings visiting the Seahawks in a matchup where, again, we got some interesting races happening between these two teams in their respective divisions. We got the Vikings, who currently, as we sit right now, are tied with the Detroit Lions at 12-2. Now, the Detroit Lions are dealing with a ton of injuries. They are just decimated. So Vikings have a chance to maybe take advantage of the misfortunes that the Lions are going through and maybe take the division lead if everything. I mean, they've won 7 straight. The Lions battling through a ton. Meanwhile, you got the Seattle Seahawks, who are tied with the LA Rams, who we just spoke about, with a 32-point spread in that game. 8-6, tied it with the Rams in the top of the division of the NFC West. So they have something that they're going after. The Rams are on a 3-game winning streak. Seattle's just lost, and they're trying to get back on track. So both teams have some division hopes to play for in this one. Now, right now, the Vikings, 3-point favorites in this game. 3-point favorites on the road in Seattle. Over under set at 43.5, and the Seattle Seahawks plus 136 on the money line. The Minnesota Vikings minus 162 to win the game straight up. Scotty, fascinating matchup here.
Yeah, I've been trying to fade the Vikings a lot this season, and it has not worked out for me. And then last week I bet on the Seahawks. That also didn't work out for me. I hate both these. No, I'm just kidding.
The Seahawks are the most unpredictable team.
I've not had a good feel for both these teams because I still think the Vikings at some point will. I mean, they feel a little bit like the Vikings of a couple years ago where they won a ton of games and then flamed out against the Giants in the opening round of the playoffs. And the Seahawks, just like almost every team in the NFC West, is just unpredictable week to week. Like, you have no idea what you're getting from the Seahawks. And we didn't get a lot last week. And now all of a sudden they, in their, second straight home game, big one for them. You lose this one. I mean, it's a big one for both because the Vikings after this have the Packers and Lions left. So it's obviously not an easy road, but it's a road where like they're in control of their own destiny to win this division. The Vikings win out, they will be the 1 seed in the NFC,
which is wild
if they win out these last 3 games. That's a tall task, but they already beat the Packers on the road. They did lose to the Lions, but that was in a 2-point game that was close. Came down to the stretch or down to the wire. I don't know what to think in this one. Vikings are playing really good football. The Seahawks are unpredictable, but this one's important for both teams, so it'll be interesting to watch. But I would not touch this game betting wise with a 10-foot pole.
Well, and Geno Smith is battling some issues, right? He had some injury stuff happening, which I don't know to the extent.
Bad.
Yeah,
that's a big issue.
Well, and that too.
Sometimes
that too.
Week to week, he's either got it or I feel like Geno's a guy like after the first quarter with the Seahawks, you know what you're gonna get. Like if they play well in the first quarter, you're like, oh, they might roll this game. If they play like garbage in the first quarter, you're like, they're gonna get blown out.
Yeah, and I think the line is efficient. Like, there's trends that make you feel like Minnesota is the right side, but I just don't know. Like we've talked about, there's nothing that we know is going to be a sure thing with any team in the NFC West. Like right now, Vikings are covering the best covering team outdoors since 2000. They're 19-9-4 against the spread outdoors. 8-2-3 in the last 13 such games, and 9-3 straight up in that span. They're 9-4-1 against the spread this season, and Seattle is 2-5-1 against the spread at home, which lends to itself to, hey, the Minnesota Vikings are playing better football. They're the lean would be for me Minnesota -3, but it's just like I just can't. I can't feel good sweating this one out. And Geno Smith injury, like I said, I don't know what we're looking at. I mean, if Sam Howell is what we're going to be getting at any point, Minnesota's the side. So if Geno comes out of this game, if he re-aggravates whatever injury it might be, that's an issue. But I think the Minnesota Vikings have a ton to play for here, especially in the NFC side of things, with the ceiling that they could reach potentially. Seahawks battling for their division. I think it's just going to be tough for them. I think they run out of gas. If I had a lean, it would probably be Minnesota, but I am not betting this at all. I'm not feeling good about it whatsoever. Incarnate says he's been making predictions all night long. Vikings 28-24 over the Seahawks. Could be in the right range. I mean, again, it's over. Like you like the over.
You like the over more than anything.
The over, I mean, yeah. That would be a lean for sure. But yeah, this game I would normally not really have any interest in, but given the circumstances of the playoff picture, I'm fascinated with the Vikings in this one on where they might end up. All right, let's get to the next one here. We got the Giants and the Falcons, baby. Let's go. Why wouldn't we cover this game? Why wouldn't we go Atlanta? And the big news of the week, Scotty. The big news of the week. We got a new starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons. The ATL lab is alive.
They're letting it all hang out this week, Chris.
Oh my goodness. This was what was it? 90, is it 80 million for 14 games that they have
They'll probably be able to move in the offseason, honestly.
I mean, yeah. You could almost
people made fun of the Penix thing, which I still think is stupid to like sign a guy to that money and then draft another guy. But I mean, Kirk Cousins has been. I mean, you've pulled out those stats on the stream every week. Like right now, in his last 4 or 5 weeks, he has 1 touchdown and 9 picks.
Yeah,
it's gross. And these picks aren't just unlucky tip balls or things like that. No, they're just he's not seeing coverage. Kirk Cousins is just throwing into the worst scenarios possible. Penix gives a little more, way more arm strength at this juncture, a little more downfield threat. Also, you get the bump with a new quarterback and the excitement with that. And the Falcons at 7-7 are still battling for a playoff spot in the NFC South because that's what you can do in the NFC South at 7-7. So, yeah, I mean, and the Giants are obviously a mess. Tried to battle last week, but Malik Neighbors, who we have pictured here, probably doesn't want to be pictured anywhere. I don't even think he wants to.
He doesn't even want to be in New York.
So, at the same time, I'm not betting on this game. I'm not betting on the. I'm not taking a guy making his NFL debut and laying 8.5 points. That's a big number for a guy that's making his debut.
Also, not taking Tim Boyle.
And
no, of course not.
Yeah,
of course not. So
but is Tim Boyle the starter? Because I know everyone's hurt.
I think
are they going to get Locke or Cutlets back?
Well, even if they get Locke back, they won't start him because
he was
losing football games.
He was in a boot and an emergency third string last week. I don't think he's.
Oh no, it does say they turn back to Locke as QB1. Now that I go to their page.
Well, he's not going to be healthy then. I mean, he was in a boot last week. So I don't understand.
What's the over under 42? I like the under.
The under is live.
To be honest, Chris, at times because of how bad my ankles are, I just wear a boot just for precautionary reasons. I'm healthy, but I don't want to roll my ankle just walking on the sidewalk. So I wear a boot.
I know that feeling.
I think this, if you were going to go any side, and it's gross. It's gross. But it would have been the 8.5, and it's now 7.5, but it would have been the 8.5. knowing as bad as the Giants are, going up against a Falcons team that doesn't have it all together, that you're starting a rookie that is. Here's the thing, like, you know, it's kind of a crazy situation to put your rookie quarterback in, right? Because you're in a situation where you're in a playoff run. You're trying to make the playoffs, and you're throwing. I get Kirk Cousins hasn't been playing well, but like you're putting a lot of pressure on a kid at the end of a season to make a run. And then let's say, you know, he looks absolutely awful going into next season. That's something to think about. But let's say, you know, there's a lot to unpack with the Atlanta Falcons making this decision and what they're doing to this quarterback that they're just throwing into the fire in middle of a playoff run.
I don't think they're just doing it for full on desperation. Maybe they've seen some things in practice. And the other part of this aspect where you obviously lean Giants a little bit, but not betting it. I lean Falcons. I think you look at all their weapons on offense, and they have a lot of them in Atlanta. They're all young guys that probably relate to Penix a lot more than they do to Kirk Cousins, and maybe want to play a little harder, maybe ball out a little, give a little more. Where I don't know. I lean Falcons here. I think they might play really, really well because they're excited about the opportunity with a new quarterback. Because when you're playing with a dude that's throwing to the wrong team left and right, I know they're coming off a win, but and that's even more bizarre. You're benching your quarterback after a win, but that's against the Raiders. So does it count? I don't know.
It doesn't.
It just nothing makes sense with the Atlanta Falcons. Nothing. It's just
ATL Lab. I'm back on board with ATL Lab. Let's go.
ATL Lab is back.
Penix 2-0 against Bo Nix last year. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Just throw that in, that little tidbit, that little fact.
Just saying.
I mean, yeah, this
it's
game.
It's important to note that is a fact. Fact.
It's a strange world that Atlanta lives in right now. So there you go. Over under, I would say the under seems like it might be where you would want to lean, but there's just so much uncertainty between a bad team in New York and a team starting a new quarterback and in Atlanta. It's just a weird situation. Don't even want to predict this train wreck. Falcons, but you do. 20-12.
But then you don't want to predict it, and then you follow with the prediction.
I love it. There it is. So appreciate that prediction, Carnett. Love it. All right, let's get to. I believe this is maybe our last game.
Nope, we got one more after.
Oh yeah, we got one more after this. You're right.
How would Rec remember that?
That's true. You know what?
I'm smart and I know things.
We'll just end with this one. We'll end with it. No, just kidding. Eagles visiting the Commanders in this one. Eagles 3.5-point favorites on the road visiting Washington. Over under at 45.5, and then the Commanders plus 150. Philadelphia minus 178. Both these teams typically, I feel like last few matchups that we get with these teams, the Washington Commanders just play the Eagles tougher than like some other teams. I just feel that vibe happening here where Washington, if I had a lean in this one, I mean, the public is all over Eagles. The money is 80% on the Eagles. And I going back, I just feel like Commanders somehow, regardless of how bad their teams are, regardless of who's playing, Washington finds a way. And I know the Eagles are still awkwardly and weirdly battling with the media on the fact that they can't throw the football, and they're like a top team in the NFC. Like, why are they bickering in the media when they're playing and winning games? It's mind-boggling to me. I don't know if the Eagles, they still are battling with the top teams in the seeding race for the NFC. I think this game is closer. If I had a lean, I would lean Commanders plus 3.5. Not one of my official bets, just a lean. But I think this might be maybe closer than people expect.
I need the real Jaden Daniels to please stand up.
Yes.
Because recently he has not been the guy he was at the beginning of the year. Like last week, I watched clips of Terry McLaurin could have had like 250 yards receiving that game. And there were several deep balls where they just missed on. They were close, very close, but just missed on where the Commanders could have easily blown up the Saints. Instead, they rely on stopping a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to get a W by 1.
After
Now,
officiating.
there was some officiating concerns with some clock stoppage. Yes. I don't know if they might still have been able to spike it, but still not a good look. Beyond that, I mean, the Eagles are playing good ball, but you just got a massive win last week against Pittsburgh. You're high and mighty right now. You actually threw the ball around well for the first time in a while. These teams played only a few weeks ago, and Eagles won by 8. I don't know. This game's way well. It's important for both. Obviously, Eagles right in the mix still for that number 1 overall seed. They're gonna end up with the top 2 seed though. They're gonna either be 1 or 2 in the NFC, but that's a big difference when you get that bye, right? And home field throughout. Where the Commanders aren't playing their best football right now, but still in the driver's seat. This one's more important almost for the Commanders. You lose this one, all of a sudden, the good news is they have Commanders and Giants and Cowboys left. Their last 3 games are all against division opponents, so they have the fortune of playing some teams that are not going to be in the playoff mix moving forward. But I don't have a great feel in this one. I don't. I want Jaden Daniels to just go back to being the free loose guy that he was at the beginning of the season. I don't know if he's playing that way right now. I want to see that from him. If we see that from him, I would love Washington plus 3.5. If he could just be the same dude he was at the beginning of the year. He's playing a little tighter, not playing with as much confidence, it feels like. The Eagles are just a bizarre team, and I still think he'll collapse. Like, did you see the clip of what coach? Like, Sirianni was trying to approach someone.
There was the D-line coach that was protecting
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter.
He smacked the shit out of Connor Hayward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, have you ever seen a head coach that has less control of his team than Sirianni?
This is a 12.
No one even his assistant coaches don't even respect him.
This is a 12-2 team. This is they're having like you got Brown and the media saying we have to figure out how to throw the ball because we got to get better. Like if you were to take that quote in a vacuum.
Jalen Hurts against what I've been told is an elite defense, absolutely balled out passing the football last week, which is weird.
If you were to give me all the media clips over the last 3 or 4 weeks or all the different things that we've seen on the sidelines for the Eagles, and you were to say, what's their record? I would not be close to 12-2. I would be like, this team is a struggling team. They're battling a lot of demons on this team. They're not disciplined. I would say they're a team that's like, towards the bottom of the division. But no, this is a 12-2 team that's dysfunctional, that's somehow finding ways to win.
Is it still at 3.5 right now?
It's still 3.5.
All right, because I lean Commanders. I do lean Commanders here.
As do I. And
would you take them in a teaser up to 9.5?
I mean that. I don't know. I
would like it a lot more if somehow it was at like 4.5 and you can get it at 10.5.
Yeah, I think there's some. Yeah, I think there's some challenges with the.
Maybe because I lean Commanders, so
yeah.
If I'm going a certain direction with the T's, I'd go with Commanders.
And I think too. I mean, so here's the tale of the tape for the Commanders. They beat the Titans 2 weeks ago, 42-19. Looking good. But I think the sour taste in the people's mouths of a 20-19 win and a close win with the Saints last week is what really is looking. It's got the Commanders' optics down because it's like, how could you struggle against the Saints team that's battling with a backup quarterback and they lose Kamara and you only win by 1 point? I think that has the stock for the Commanders down in a way that is like,
I agree. If you want to fade the public, it's the Commanders, but the Commanders haven't beat a team with a winning record all season. I mean, you look at their wins: Saints, Titans, Giants, Bears, Panthers, Browns, Cardinals, Bengals. Oh, no, they lost. And Giants again. So they don't have a game against a winning team all year where they won. This would be their first.
First time for everything, so...
There is.
Yeah. There you go.
Could have easily beat those Steelers, but the Steelers are kind of like, facade as well. So.
Speaking of Steelers, let's get to the last game of the night. Steelers and Ravens in
Let's go.
what could be a very good matchup in this one. So Steelers, 6.5 point dogs on the road in Baltimore. Over under at 45.5 now. And Baltimore minus 290 on the money line to win the game. And the Steelers plus 235 in this one. And Steelers battling through some potential injuries that, TJ Watt and some of the other, there's some injury issues that have this line sticking where it's at. Now, these two teams always play close games. Right? They always play a 3-point game. It's always close. And I'm looking at the line all week long, and I'm seeing Steelers plus 6.5. And I'm thinking to myself, that's going to go down. That's going to go down. Money. People know Tomlin in these spots as an underdog is always solid. They beat the Ravens already and won 6 of 7 in Baltimore. 7-2 against the spread in the last 9 meetings overall. And the Steelers held the ball for 36 minutes in the first game, and their defensive front, always a problem for suspect offensive line. They know how to play this Ravens team, and Tomlin just knows how to just match up well with the Ravens. Ravens are 2-3-1 against the spread at home. Mike Tomlin is just he's a coach that knows how to put together a game plan as a dog against the Ravens. That being said, this line hasn't moved, Scotty. Given they play these close games, given everything, this line has been sitting at 6.5 all week, and it's fishy to me. Why wouldn't a matchup that has historically been super close and all these trends not move?
I think one, the public thinks, and I tend to agree with them. I think in general the Ravens are certainly a better team than the Steelers.
Correct.
However, and I'm not on this game this week, but the more I look at it, I'm like, maybe I should be. You look at teams that are familiar with the Ravens, and the Ravens aren't able to separate from those teams. You look at their division games so far this year, they lost to the the Steelers, I'm sorry, in their first matchup. They lost to the Browns in the one matchup with the Browns. The Bengals games, they won by 3-1. So, they're a minus point differential
in the division.
Within their division this year. Now, they dominate the NFC because those teams are not familiar with how to play Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson's a different beast than, any other offense you'll pretty much play. So, I'm a little torn because I think the Ravens are definitely the better team and should win this game. But Lamar is limited when teams know what he likes to do and they're able to take that away. And the Steelers are obviously one of those teams.
Also, too, things to note. Steelers, really great on special teams, typically. Takeaways. The kicking matchup normally would be Baltimore. Chris Boswell is the mismatch in this one over Justin Tucker. The forecast for this, bitter cold, supposedly. I don't know. I haven't looked recently, but as far as Lamar and the Ravens, both.
Makes me like Steelers more.
And it's supposed to be kind of a rough, cold game. So, but that's what I'm saying. why isn't this line moving with all of these? Like, I love Steelers plus 6.5. I love it, and I still find myself.
I have a weird feeling that this is like the Ravens statement game. They had one other. They obviously made a statement against the Bills early on in the year, but like this is their next moment to like make a statement. We're here. We're real. We're a threat. And maybe that's why it's holding on to this number. But yeah,
It's fishy.
I mean,
Rec.
the last time they played it was 18-16.
Rec, what are we missing?
Let's say, of course, Pickens may or may not play, so that severely limits the passing game. TJ Watt should play in this game. Like kind of same thing with Mahomes. He sprained his ankles, but he's practicing. And it's not as bad as it first looked.
Your best guess,
He
though,
should be.
I think both those guys play.
Pickens is a big question. I'd go over 50% for TJ Watt. I'd go a little under 50 for Pickens.
Okay.
But yeah, there's also questions about Deshaun Elliott, who's one of the best run-stopping safeties in the league currently. So the big run stoppers are all hurt. But again, like I mentioned before, like if there's one team that like Tomlin matches up well against, it's Baltimore. Granted, I feel like that's the one game where it feels like he gives his heart and soul into. Again, you could call me up for that, whatever. That's just what it feels like on a week-to-week basis.
Cuban says that's why he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah. But yeah.
One of the best to ever do it.
But yeah, when it comes to like Tomlin against Lamar Jackson, I take Mike Tomlin and his schemes over Lamar Jackson stuff all day, every day. Again, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, whenever the spread is 3 points or more, I'm taking the team with the points all the time. Like if it was Steelers -6, I'd take the Ravens all day. Like it's almost always a 3-point game. And it's like maybe once every 5 years you'll have a game that's more than a possession. At -6, doesn't matter what kind of mismatch you have, you gotta go Steelers.
It just seems so weird to me. And I probably will end up getting in on the Steelers minus or plus 6.5. I probably will. Like it's just baiting me in. I don't know. Steelers win this, says Incarnate, thinking the under 24-17.
Yeah, I don't know why it's at 45. That's stupid.
I'm also can't bet on this because I would prefer as a Chiefs fan to the Ravens moving into that 3 slot. Not because I'm afraid of the Ravens necessarily, but I would really like the Ravens who played the Bills and dominated them early on in the year. For those two teams to have to face each other perhaps the week before they play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game sounds really nice to me.
Beat up on each other,
But don't you want the Steelers to host the Broncos?
No, I don't. I mean, that'd be fun, and that can still happen. Well, no, it can't happen.
It can happen if the Broncos stay in the
not,
if the Steelers win and the Broncos get the 6th seed.
I mean, if the Ravens win the division, it can't happen.
Yeah, exactly. So root for the Steelers so we get Broncos Steelers.
I would love that. I would take it.
Yeah, because you're afraid of the other teams.
I am.
And besides, Scott, you'd want that, so your bet would hit with Chris,
and the bet would hit with me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not losing that bet. It's either a push or I win. So,
yeah. So this game is weird. But it's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to come down to it. And I think again, we talked about
Saturday afternoon,
and I have a feeling kicking is going to be a big role player in this game. And Justin Tucker, I mean, has been brutal this year.
And Boz is on pace to have the single greatest season as a kicker ever.
Can you? I prefer you not refer to a kicker as
the Boz. Yeah.
Oh, down here we call him the Wizard of Boz.
Oh no.
Well, that's just sad.
That's just now
you
you're
guys get too hyped for your kicker.
you guys just whatever you
The
guys
wonderful Wizard of Oz.
whatever makes you guys feel better. I mean,
Score some touchdowns instead.
Yeah, it was funny. There was one press conference. I think it was actually after the last Ravens game where Tomlin was like, "Yeah, I'm tired of Boswell winning Special Teams Player of the Week."
Yeah, I don't think you want your kicker to win Special Teams Player of the Week.
well, there you go. Those are the games. Those are the ones you should look out for. All the implications, all the crazy things that could potentially happen this weekend. Go check out these games. Games are on all over the place. We have Saturday, we have Sunday, we have Monday, we have. I mean, it's all over the place. So make sure you guys are keeping tabs on when all the games are. Let's look at our best bets and run through everything. There, I think, is one that you didn't talk about and one that I didn't talk about, Scotty, on this chart. So go ahead, run them down. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about KC, LA, and LA. Dallas on Sunday Night Football. They're stupid, Chris. They don't care about draft picks. Apparently, they're just like, let's win when we can. They've won 3 of 4. I mean, their defense is certainly playing better than it was early on in the year, even with injury. I mean, they still. I mean, Diggs is out for a year, but like, they're playing better on that side of the ball. The Bucks. This is obviously a big one for the Bucks. You know, for their playoff stance, but like at 4.5. I just feel like Dallas is going to be in the mix in that game right till the end, and while they may not win it, I like getting 4.5 with Dallas.
Look at Scotty
at home.
turning the corner and betting on his boy Super Cooper.
Just love that guy so much.
He's all in. He's all in.
Love that guy so much, and yeah, you got a couple teaser. I mean, you kind of talked about the teaser a little bit with KC, and then yeah, you got you're going heavy favorite.
Heavy favorite. And you know, honestly, I lean heavy favorites in 2 of the biggest spreads of the week. There was also the Buffalo Bills and Patriots. I think is like around 14.5 too.
Yeah, I think I got 13.5.
Yeah, I think you got it.
That's one of mine best bets.
Yeah,
Buffalo's going to win that game by like 3.
That's
just what Buffalo does.
Just I don't know. Like
they look great against like great teams, then they play like an inferior division opponent, and for no reason at all, they kind of look like ass.
I left Buffalo off, but I do love Green Bay -14. Green Bay -14 is cake. I was able to get it. It's 14.5. I still like it at 14.5. This game is going to be. I mean, you got Spencer Rattler, right? I think, right? Is he gonna
gunslinger for the Saints?
Yeah, Spencer's playing.
He was 10 for 21 as a passer. Did not impress his first. I mean, the Alvin Kamara left the game, was banged up, and who knows what his situation is. He might play, but is he going to be 100%? Probably not. This Packers defense is going to be playing well against a Spencer Rattler run offense that I just in Lambeau Field in late December. In a spot where, like, I just don't see a dome team like New Orleans traveling up north being able to hang with a team like Green Bay in this one. I mean, this game could be an absolute blowout, and I'm all over Green Bay -14 in this one.
My only hesitancy, is like, does Green Bay have anything to play for here? They feel like they're locked into the, like, 6th seed in the NFC.
They might be trying for. They might make an attempt at the 1.
They can't. They can't because the Vikings and Lions are 2 games ahead of them, and they play each other. Where it's really not possible. You need the Vikings and Lions to lose their other 2 games, and then yeah, it's just not. It's not going to happen. Because they're one of those teams is guaranteed 1 win. And then at that point, you're almost eliminated. So it feels like the Packers are just going to be the 6th seed in the NFC, and that's like where they will be.
But I mean, I still need Spencer Rattler to put up points for a New Orleans team that may not have Alvin Kamara. So I just think it's going to be a tough one. I mean, I just don't. Team total under for New Orleans is probably in play in this one as well. I don't know what that is. I haven't looked at it. Let me take a look at what the team total is for New Orleans. It might not even be available yet. Hey,
let's go. What's up, Chemical
fan? What's up? How we doing? How we doing? Welcome in. Who's your team and where you're from? Like to get to know you a little bit. Welcome into the Action Lab. My name is Chris. This is Scott. We are your hosts. We are going through all the games of the weekend. We're talking about some of our best bets here. So thank you for popping in. Welcome. So yeah, that's where I got. By the way, Detroit, I have here. I teased them down. I got KC early on in the week when they were 2.5 point underdogs at home before the Mahomes news. So, and then Detroit just needs to win the game. As beat up as they are, they're still the better team.
Still need that one. They need that one seed.
They need it. So still and you still have a rah guy as the head coach.
The Bears haven't won in months,
and they look like they've given up. So all you got to do if you're Detroit is win the game, and that's the only other game that we didn't cover. So that's where you have it. Our best bets locked in for Week 16, all set and locked up for you guys. So, initially from San Diego, grew up as a Steeler fan. Now in Pennsylvania, see the pattern?
Just that,
Let's go.
That diehard that you got to move. See, some diehard fans follow to their state. Wreck.
they travel with it.
Randomly decide to live in Tennessee and be Steeler fans.
How you feeling?
Tennessee's a great place.
Yeah, how you feeling about the Steelers, Chemical? How you feeling about them this week? Baltimore, what are your thoughts? Guys, we will be back live. We'll be covering some of the Bronco game, I think, tomorrow. I won't be live for the whole game, but we'll be throwing out some commentary and just kind of checking out the game. No NBA. So we talked a lot of NBA earlier on the stream tonight. So next Thursday, we'll get back into the NBA streams on Thursday. And then Sunday night, we will be back live covering Sunday Night Football. We got Bucks, we got Cowboys. We're going to be talking through that, gifting out some subs to the community, playing some bingo for the game, and having a good time. So hopefully you guys can join us. Hit that follow button like Chemical just did, and join us each and every single time we go live. So that's it. We're good.
We're on to Cincinnati. I don't know. That's a Belichick quote.